we're live. How are we doing then, Zero?
Good evening. Yes, I'm feeling very woo-woo tonight, I must admit.
Oh yeah, we're gonna go woo woo. I think it's kind of weird because like number stations isn't very woo woo, is it? Or is it?
Cool. I thought it's more creepy, isn't it, than
Yeah.
woo-woo? Sort of
I
like.
don't know why it just gives
"Ugh."
me the creeps.
Yeah, it does.
It seems
yeah.
It seems a bit demonic.
It does. Yeah, it really. Well, we can sort of get to that with later on. Yeah, my sort of theory of the magical squares. Yeah, but yeah, that I used to pick them up when I was into shortwave in the must have been the 1990s, and yeah, it does creep. It is creepy shit. It is.
Before that, we've got some even creepier shit going down in America. The guy that's delivering TVs to people in the dead of night. Are you still there, bro?
Oh, you went quiet then.
Oh, did I? Oh, right, yeah. Hold on, let's put the right story up. Man wearing TV on his head is caught on camera leaving old TVs on Virginia front porches. Henrico County, Virginia. Residents living in a Virginia neighborhood woke up to find 3 televisions on their doorsteps. It sounds like a great gift until you see the older box sets left at homes.
Yeah.
He's committed to
CRTs.
Yeah, he's dropping CRTs off. We got to, so he's committed to his trade, said homeowner Jim Brooksbank. No need to adjust that dial. Doorbell surveillance cameras captured the man with a TV set over his head, laying older sets down on someone's front porch and just walking off. He wants to be known as the TV Santa Claus. I don't know. Brookbank told WTR-TV. The bizarre discovery happened at Sunday morning at Henrico's Hampshire neighbourhood. Outdated boxes were found at more than 50 homes. We've got an old tube-style TV, 13-inch, says Brooksbank. I thought my son brought it home, but apparently not. They had way too much time in their hands if they had all these TVs. That's the weird thing, 50 old school TV sets.
I think they're better, those CRTs. I mean, good on him, you know. Like, I've got a CRT, you know, I think about it, but I ain't got a flat screen, no. But Christ, they're massive, aren't they? I didn't realise how massive they were until the other day.
That commitment, though. Oh, if you look, have you watched the video? The commitment. You know, the TV mask and everything.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh, that goes into the creep zone, doesn't it? Yeah.
Yeah, it's like why? Why do these people do it?
Looks like he's in a trance or something.
Yeah, he does walk in an odd manner, doesn't he?
Because there was an odd case in Australia, I think in the late 80s, where the police found, like, I think it was at least 2 people like walking around in the middle of the night, just carrying their TV set like outside, and yeah, that was never like explained. But you know, they weren't thieves, you know, that was their TV. You know, when they traced it back, and just a couple of Australian men were just found like wandering on their lawns, just carrying their TV set. Yeah. Fucking weird. They're not taking them away, are they? Fucking hell.
There's some weird. There's some weird, because like if you remember Poltergeist, that was centered around the TV, wasn't it?
Yeah. And she died under mysterious circumstances, didn't she? That little girl,
Heather O'Rourke, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Didn't she die after the second one? Didn't she?
I can't remember what it was from, but yeah, there was something. I think someone mentioned pedo stuff.
Was it like gastric flu or something like that she died of?
I think there was something odd to it, but I'm not sure.
Hold on a second.
I'm thinking of something else. Because it's weird, like when children watch TV, they get really up close to the screen, don't they? And I've always thought, well, why do they do that? It's almost like a sucking them in, isn't it? To sort of brainwash them or something. They sit really up close, don't they?
Is it because they can? There's that really weird. Have you ever read that really weird creepypasta about Candle Cove?
No.
Oh, it's a great one. You want to dig it out? It's this kid watches this really weird and slightly creepy kids program and describes it all, and then like the twist at the end is that like he wasn't watching a program at all. His mum said it was really weird because he used to sit in front of the TV screaming.
Oh God, yeah.
But it's worth listening to for the description of Candle Cove.
Oh, I'll check that out. Yeah. No, I love the idea of sort of maybe sort of children in the middle of the night. They sort of go downstairs and put the
Oh, she
TV
did.
on and sort of.
She did up to Poltergeist 3, and it was after that she died.
Maybe,
Intestinal
maybe that was
stenosis, a
just.
severe bowel obstruction she died of.
Oh, that doesn't sound too weird. But I
So she
thought
died
there
of
was some sort of.
She died of septic shock, I suppose, unless it was something a producer put in there.
So that.
So yeah,
Yeah, just like technology in general fascinates me. Like I've been delving into all this 1950s, 1980s sort of spy stuff,
Oh,
and they
did you know
got all
she was
those
in
little
Happy Days as well?
gadgets. God, when was that? What, as a baby?
Must have been.
So that weren't too bad, Poltergeist one, was it?
That's pretty good. I
don't know.
love that. I love those old industrial light and magic effects. They were great for ghosts, weren't they? Those and the Indiana Jones ghosts. I don't know how they did it. Was it like someone underwater or something that they kind of superimposed or something like that?
Yeah, probably suffered like that. Yeah,
Because they had like a really weird kind of ethereal kind of they
yeah,
looked
sort
kind
of
of
shimmery,
real, didn't they? They didn't look.
Yeah. And then they always have to mess it up by having a bloody sequel, don't they? That's really sort of crap.
That's the weird thing with the old
It's
bloke
like,
in the black, isn't it? They're too about the
oh
weird.
yeah, I wasn't too happy about that. No, that's a bit creepy, isn't it?
Yeah,
The old preacher. But
bit of a trope. What were you saying? Sorry, I just derailed you then.
that's just weird technology in general. I've been getting into the 1950s, 1980s spy stuff, all that John le Carre stuff, and there's amazing gadgets they have. Those little tape recorders and that, and anything like that has got to be odd. If I'm not sure whether they are, but if spirits and such things, they must be on the electromagnetic scale, probably on a very weird part of it. But I'm sure they must be electromagnetic, so they're going to be able to interact with tape recorders and TVs and things
Well,
like
apparently,
that.
have you ever been to a graveyard and tried to get EVPs with a tape recorder? Because apparently that's a good way to get EVPs, isn't it?
I've been to a graveyard just to freak myself out, which I accomplished very, very, very effectively. I haven't recorded anything though. I had a couple. Actually, I had a couple of sort of weird things when I used to do like mixtapes. When I was really into doing mixtapes and that. And I swear, like someone said my name once, like my full name, but in a really quiet thing. But of course, I don't know where the bloody tape is now. But I definitely recorded it. And someone said my name. I'm sure of it.
That was a good
So
scene
maybe
in the
I
fog,
stopped
weren't
it.
it? Do you remember the fog?
Mm.
When she's got the piece of that ship and she's in the radio station, and then everything goes weird and it starts saying stuff. That's quite good.
Yeah, it's good. There's that whole film in it. That EVP film. I can't remember what it was called. But
White
that
Noise.
weren't too. Yeah, White Noise. That
And
was
again,
sort
they
of
did a
okay,
terrible
wasn't it?
sequel, didn't they?
Yeah. It's, the extras on the DVD were better than the actual film on White Noise.
Have you ever seen The Blair Witch on DVD?
Nah.
This is the reason I rave about The Blair Witch, because if you get buy the DVDs of The Blair Witch 1 and 2, don't ever watch The Blair Witch 2 because it's garbage. But,
No, I've seen it. Yeah, it's crap, isn't it?
But the great thing about it is I don't know whether you know, but when they created the Blair Witch, they created a whole load of lore. So there's loads of mockumentaries about the Blair Witch lore. So there's one about Rustin Parr. There's another one about the Blair Witch, and it's like people pretending to be historians and stuff. It's really interesting. If you watch it as a body of work, it's actually really, really interesting.
Yeah. I always liked Blair Witch. Everyone said like, "Oh, it's crap, it's crap." I thought, no, I thought it was a very good attempt at urban legend type found footage horror film. I thought it was
they
pretty good
literally
myself,
built one from the ground up, because, like I say, if you watch the Blair Witch, it's really good because they created a whole lore. A load of work went into it.
Yeah. Because it was just on video, weren't it? It was just some sort of video that they blew up to 35mm, and
yeah,
I always like that. That always gives it a sort of strange cast to the look to it, doesn't it? When you blow things up like that.
Yeah, I watched. Have you seen the remake? It's not. It's kind of a sequel, so it's like technically the Blair Witch 3, isn't it? It's just called Blair Witch, and it's one of the original people. The story is like his brother goes to have a look for the Blair Witch.
Oh, I didn't know there was a free. Oh, I must have watched that now. Yeah,
Yeah,
I've got a soft
it's just
spot
called
for
Blair
the
Witch, and it's from a couple of years ago. Mr. 262 said her scared snot was epic. Do you remember that when she got the camera to her face, that bit of snot comes out?
Yeah. I like Blair Witch. I thought that was quite a good attempt at something.
If you do like it, I would recommend you either find the documentaries. They're probably on YouTube or something.
Yeah.
One of them's called the Burkittsville 7, and I can't remember what the others were called.
Yeah.
But I thought it was quite interesting the way they built the lore from the ground up. I think that was.
Yeah.
It's something genuinely interesting in like a sea of like mediocrity.
Sort of like that legend tripping, isn't it? Where they sort of take an existing sort of urban legend or maybe a real sort of legend and just go with it, sort of thing, sort of believe it and add bits to it. Yeah. Certainly.
So is that what Slenderman is then? Is that legend tripping? Is it?
I think legend tripping is more like, say there's like a legend in your local town of a haunted house. Like people get together and sort of read up about it and sort of talk about it, and then I'm not really sure what the idea is. I think it's just like you just get really into the legend and then go there and sort of hang about.
Is the idea like giving it power? Because that's what it seems to be, doesn't it? If you start creating like an energetic buzz around it, then you're giving it power, aren't you?
Yeah. There's a creepy road just up the way from me, and I know this hippie bloke, and he says it's haunted, but I realise that it's not haunted. It's just like every time he walks down there at a particular spot, he gets scared, and so he's created a ghost. I think, or he hasn't seen anything, but I think he's creating his own ghost down the creepy road. You know, like I've been down there. I've never felt anything, but well,
like you said, you went to that graveyard to get the shit out of yourself, didn't you?
Yeah. Oh yeah, that was terrifying. Yeah. But you know, you can create your own personal ghost on a certain part of the street. Yeah, if you sort of.
Oh, have you heard this one? Have you heard this one from the Fortean Times? On the 14th of May, hundreds of human teeth were found scattered across the A6 in Fortean, Lancashire. And in July, Emily Sullivan, 38, dug up a box in her garden in Modbury in Devon, filled with five sets of false teeth. Have you heard that one?
Oh, I don't like false teeth. It's like a horror film trope, isn't it?
Do you think teeth have some sort of power then, do you? Or?
I just remember that Killer Nun film where she like crushes that old woman's false teeth under her foot, and maybe queasy. It's like too much. Yeah. No, teeth are fucking weird, aren't they? I don't want.
I'll have a look at everybody's favourite section of the Fortean words, the strange deaths. Darren Hinkley, 51, from Chorley, Lancashire, died 12 hours after eating a small scalding fish cake that burned his throat and caused him to stop breathing. Darren Hickey's voice box swelled up on the 4th of April after being asked to sample the food by a chef at a wedding venue in Bolton that he managed. He went to hospital complaining of throat pain, but doctors couldn't see the damage, and he was sent home with paracetamol. He collapsed at home that evening and died early the next day. Such deaths are very rare and are usually seen in house fire victims who have inhaled smoke.
God, yeah. So we'll have to do something on spontaneous combustion. Yeah.
Yeah.
I did have a look on the whatever they're called, the British Fire Engine HQ, but there's nothing on there about spontaneous combustion. It's a sort of thing. Should I like write to them and ask them, or do you get on a weird like watch list if you talk about spontaneous combustion? I don't know.
So people just don't talk about it anymore. I saw that documentary where they explained the phenomena of wicking, didn't they? And they'd actually figured it out. But I think there's a bit more to it than just the wicking part. But that's what these scientists do. They isolate a section of it and go, "There you go. See, it's bullshit," don't they?
Yeah. It doesn't explain how they catch fire, because there's people, non-smokers, have had spontaneous. That's happened to non-smokers without like a real fire, without a coal fire. So I don't think Wiccan explains that. But I think it's some sort of laser. I think, I don't know, some sort of, not laser, but maybe some sort of freak combination. Maybe there's microwaves in the air. Someone does a microwave oven, and there's something else that just has a freak sort of combination that just fries people or something. I don't know.
Two sisters died of brain hemorrhages within 24 hours of each other. Amanda Williams, 54, collapsed as she was preparing to leave her home in Leicester to be at the bedside of her seriously ill sibling, Jacqueline, 57, in Ingolstadt, Germany. Amanda was taken to hospital but died on 7th of September, a day after Jacqueline.
God, that's sad. That's very sad, yeah. That's just horrible. I hate this world. When things like that happen, it's just like horrible.
Yeah. Here's another one. Alan Seaman, 76, died in a bicycle crash while trying to escape from a sweeping magpie in Wollongong, New South Wales. He suffered head injuries on the 15th of September when he veered off a path and crashed into a fence south of Sydney and was thrown headfirst onto concrete. He later died in hospital. The Australian magpie is a different species from the European bird and can become aggressive during mating season, but fatal incidents are rare.
I had a curious idea the other night that I thought, I haven't worked this out. Like, I don't know if this logically makes sense, but if we can go to other worlds in dream, we can move about in them and interact with and speak with the inhabitants of this other world, can't we? So surely they can come to our world and do the same with us. But that's going around in my head at the moment. Like,
I've never dreamt
if
about
we
aliens.
can go, you just have.
Oh, no, I said I haven't.
You've never dreamt of aliens?
Never dreamt about aliens, never.
I haven't really. I had sex with that reptilian once, but I'm not sure whether that was. That's about the only memorable alien dream I've had.
Probably the worst dream I ever had. I dreamt about a headless witch once.
Oh, that's a bit freaky.
And and I knew she could see me, and that was like the really freaky part.
God, do you get any succubi, incubi? I had a few of them like in the past, but
no, I've never had that either.
I've had quite a few of that. I met this really creepy doll one once. It looked like a sort of white doll, but like an adolescent white doll, and she sort of
jailbait doll.
That was a jailbait. Jailbait succubus. But that wasn't really like a sexy doll. You know, it was like a horrible sort of blank-faced sort of doll. There's nothing really sexual about it at all. It was just like horrible. And I ended up like, imagine the doll was standing there, and I sort of backed onto her, and I stood on her feet, like my feet stood on her feet, and I held on to her behind her waist, and then she just started vibrating, like going like. And I'm standing on this like doll succubus, and she's vibrating me like just through my whole body. And I thought it's time to wake up. I think. so I woke up. That's the weirdest one I've had with succubus. I mean, what the fuck, you know? Like,
Jesus, I mean, she's not doing you any favours, is she? In the old bedroom?
No, I mean, it wasn't like erotic at all. It was just like bloody weird. But maybe that's a first. That's the world's first vibrating succubi. Maybe I could get in the Guinness Book of Records or something.
Yeah. How do you assess the record? That's the problem, isn't it?
Yeah.
You know what? Norris from McWhirt's around, checking you out, do you?
With a psychiatrist, yeah.
Wasn't his brother killed by the IRA?
Yeah.
They were twins, weren't they? Norris and.
He was in that weird right wing group, weren't he? Yeah.
Oh, was
I got
he?
a book. That's called Freedom Now. Yeah, he was in a really weird I don't know what it was. It was just like, you know, what's her name? Mary Whitehouse.
Yeah.
There was nothing to do with her, but that was something like that, like a really uptight sort of ultra conservative sort of right wing. I don't know what it was, but there's a book called, I think it's called the Necessity of Freedom. I got the book. Yeah, it's really boring.
Because
It's like really boring.
the Guinness Book of Records was invented to settle pub arguments, wasn't it?
Oh, I didn't know that. Yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, the IRA. I think that the IRA must have got him because he was part of this sort of ultra conservative right wing sort of pro Thatcher group.
Was it Dennis McWhirter?
Sounds familiar. Yeah,
I can't remember. Hold on. I'll look at Norris McWhirter, and then it should lead me to his brother, and we'll find his brother.
I can't.
It's not really paranoid.
Group,
I suppose it's kind of Fortean because they do strange stuff, don't they?
I can't spell McWhirter. That's quite a weird one to spell. But...
Norris and Ross.
Ross. That sounds familiar. Yeah, I think it's Ross. Ross was the conservative one. Yeah.
Ross was he? Let's have a look. Political activity. He was a active member of the Conservative Party in the 60s and fought unsuccessfully to recapture Orpington in the 64 and 66 general elections. 64 and 66. They had a couple of close ones then, didn't they?
That sounds really depressing. Trying to capture Orpington. I don't know.
Reconquista Orpington.
Yeah, I heard your Grub and Saw the other night. Yeah, it was Swindon. Yeah.
Reconquista Swindon.
I know it's Milton Keynes was mentioned as well. We'll have to do a show on Milton Keynes.
Oh, hold on about that. This is interesting. His brother Ross was a critic of British government policy in Northern Ireland and called for a tougher response by the army against Irish Republicans. Ross was shot dead by the IRA in 1975 at his home in Middlesex after offering a reward for information leading to the apprehension of those carrying out a bombing campaign in London at the time.
Yeah, that's what I mean.
National Association for Freedom.
That's the one, yeah.
It's now called the Freedom Association.
Yeah. Oh, they're really boring though, like really like uptight. Those sort of uptight type, they're probably Christians as well, I think. That uptight Christian, like you can't do anything sort of remotely interesting because it's bad, that sort of stuff.
Oh no, they're even worse than that. They're libertarian.
Oh well, yeah.
Centre right and libertarian, which actually links to the Conservative Party in the UK, UKIP as well.
I'm just fascinated by that. I say that 1970s, 1980s period in British politics where that was really sort of hardcore, wasn't it? That wasn't all this pissy potty stuff that you get today. That was really like hardcore.
Hold on a sec.
People were getting shot.
The Freedom Association, they hold pub quizzes, usually with Jacob Rees-Mogg as the quiz master in Westminster, that have, according to Ian Dale, gained cult status.
Yeah. That might be a happening scene, yeah.
Yeah, restarted in 2013 after a 19-year hiatus. The Magna Carta Day Pims and Politics boat trip is a day-long river cruise.
That's what I mean. They're really like that sort of type of conservative.
High Tory. They're high Tory, aren't they?
Yeah. Because all this odd stuff that, like people, all this crap in the news today, like the Russian interference, like they helped Trump get elected and they interfered with the 2016 Brexit referendum over here, and I saw like, Russians. But back in them days, I mean, Chapman Pincher, his book Treachery, I mean, he claims that the actual head of MI5, like Roger Hollis, was an actual double agent working for the KGB. So, like, we think we've got it bad now, but back then, I think there was some really like weird stuff with the.
Do you think there is such a thing as a triple agent, or do you think it's like a TV inspired myth? Do you think it's possible that there was like triple agents?
That must be a bit of a head fuck, I should imagine.
It must be a hell of a one to do. If I was a triple agent,
keeping everyone like happy and unsuspecting.
Or trying to work out who your paymaster on a daily basis must be a nightmare in itself, mustn't it?
Well, it's good because you get paid twice, wouldn't you? You get paid double, but,
double bubble all day, every day.
That's like. But what was I going to say? Yeah, it's like.
Hollis, you were talking about.
That'd be hard. No, I think double agents are definitely real, but yeah, triple agents. But what about a quadruple agent? You're like spying. You say you're spying for the KGB, but you're actually MI6. But you also claim, or maybe they think you're MI. Oh god, that's mad, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah. That's a fascinating world. I wouldn't want to be a spy, but certainly a fascinating, fascinating world.
I know we're getting further and further away from this, but I love the Eagle has landed. Was it? Broadsword to Danny Boy. I like.
That's great.
What's his name? He's brilliant in that, isn't he? Richard Burton. Because isn't he a triple agent in that?
Oh, I can't remember.
Isn't he obviously a German agent? Then it turns out that he's really a British agent at the end.
I don't. No, it's Where Eagles Dare, isn't it? Where Clint Eastwood.
Oh, that's the one I'm talking about. I always call them the wrong films. Where Eagles, Richard Burton and Clint Eastwood. That's the one I'm talking about.
Richard Burton starred in a remake or an early version of that John le Carré, The Spy Who Came In From the Cold. Like that's a really gritty, sort of depressing Cold War thriller. Yeah, it's all black and white.
I can actually talk about Richard Burton, and I can drag us back to Paranormal. Do you remember the Medusa touch? Have you ever seen that one?
Oh, I remember that. Yeah,
the one where is he a really powerful psychic or something? Isn't he?
I get all these films mixed up. I thought it was like a virus, wasn't it? A world virus, or
it's been a long time since I've seen it.
I'm curious now. Yeah,
I just remember him making a plane crash. He makes a plane crash. Is it at the end or at the start?
Oh, that's right. Yeah. He's the psychic, isn't he? Yeah. I'll have to watch that again. Yeah.
Yeah, I wouldn't mind watching that again because I haven't seen it since like the 80s or something.
I recommend Spy Who Came In From the Cold, the one he's in. That's a really gritty, sort of like really fucking depressing. But I think that must have been what it was like back then. You know, like being a spy in Eastern Germany, and that must have been really like horrible and dark and really sort of depressing. But the film really captures that. It's great. He goes to this. He gets a job in this like psychic society's library as part of his cover. Yeah, it's quite interesting.
It's like Firefox is almost like it's like a porn film, isn't it? You don't really get the money shot till the end, do you? You wait, was it like an hour and a half, like hour and 3/4 before he gets the jet, and then he's in it for about half hour, isn't he, or 20 minutes or something? That takes a long time to pay off. That movie does.
I don't think I've seen that one.
Where Clint Eastwood has to steal the Russian jet because he's the only person that can think in Russian. Do you remember that one?
Maybe I have seen it. Yeah. Oh, that's right. Yeah. That's quite a good plot twist. Yeah.
But it just takes ages to pay off.
He didn't have the money. Yeah.
Oh, Mr. 262 remembers it. He made a plane crash by looking at it. Doesn't he make the plane crash into the film that into the building that he's in to kill himself?
That sounds familiar. Yeah.
And the other bit I remember
the
other bit I remember from that is the one where he makes the church collapse as well. Doesn't he? I think.
Oh, I don't know. He's been in some weird bloody films, Richard Burton, hasn't he? Exorcist. He was in Exorcist 2, weren't he?
Oh, was he? Yeah. I've never seen The Heretic.
Yeah, he's in Exorcist 2, The Heretic. Yeah.
I know
people slag it off.
I know Kim Newman likes to say it's the best Exorcist film to wind Mark Kermode up, doesn't he, the film critic? Because Mark Kermode's like a huge Exorcist fan, isn't he?
Yeah, it's not too bad. Exorcist 2. It's never going to beat Exorcist 1, is it? Like nothing can beat Exorcist 1 for like.
No, because that's based on a true story, isn't it? The Exorcist.
Yeah, based on a bloke, like a young boy though, not a girl. But yeah. Yeah, I got the book to it. Yeah, Possession is called. Yeah, it's not too bad.
Because isn't The Exorcist of Mary Rose based on a German girl who died during an exorcism?
Yeah.
Annalise. Is it Annalise something?
Annalise. Yeah. Pill Public Image Limited did a song called Annalise about it. Yeah, and he apparently channels her doing the song. Yeah. Old Johnny Rotten. Yeah.
Blimey.
Back in the 90s, I went to see The Exorcist 1 at the cinema, at the actual cinema.
Yeah, I saw that. It was midnight showings only, wasn't it?
Yeah. I went in there and like everyone was sort of joking, sort of thing. Everyone was laughing and that. But as soon as the Exorcist film started playing, man, did that go quiet? You know, like that was like really a really interesting sort of phenomenon.
The girl I was with at the time fell asleep during it.
Oh fucking hell! I know stuff like that shits me up. I don't know.
What
That's
demons?
a pretty freaky film. With all the subliminals and that, the subliminals in the sound and the images
What
and that.
What do you think to the later sequel? The later sequels, like the ones from the early 2000s, was it?
There was quite a good one. The one I can't remember what it's called.
Where the body's
Exorcist,
hanging up.
the beginning.
Yeah. Is that the one where the
I think I've
body's
seen Exorcist,
flayed and
the
hanging up
beginning.
from the ceiling or something?
I don't think I've seen that one, but yeah, it's just nothing can touch the first one. That had that amazing 70s vibe, didn't it? That sort of
70s horror
can't be
films really
touched,
do have
really,
the
man.
vibe, don't they? So we've done our half hour. Are you ready to get into some numbers stations?
Yeah, number stations. Yeah.
So how do you want to do this? You got something to talk about first, or?
That's just if people don't know what number stations are, they're pretty much what it says on the tin. They're they're pirate radio stations, totally unlawful, totally unlicensed, that broadcast a series of numbers through this machine over shortwave radio, so spies can pick it up. And the whole thing is just weird. Not necessarily even the numbers, but pirate. If I set up a pirate radio station, they're just not tolerated, and they're going to be shut down very quickly. But these number stations have been broadcasting for years, like uninterrupted. So
it's also slightly. I don't know. There's something slightly creepy about some of them. Yeah. Some of them just like make my hackles rise.
They just must be. Well, they obviously must be government sanctioned, mustn't they? So I suppose they're broadcast from a friendly country where the government says it's okay.
Well, shortwave you can actually trace, can't you?
Yeah, very easily. Yeah, triangulate it. Yeah, so they must be being broadcast with the blessing of the government of the country they're broadcasting from. So and they're broadcast at irregular times on different frequencies to avoid being jammed, because some countries do try to jam them, but they still come through, and they come through very loud. So there must be like a proper radio station. It's not just someone at home, on some sort of pirate thing, but they must be broadcasting for a proper radio station for that power. They must have a massive aerial to broadcast that. It's just fucking weird.
Right, are we ready for our first one? We'll listen to. This is called The Lincolnshire Poacher. I'll turn it down a bit because it's starting to get a bit repetitive. I've got 4 minutes of it, so should we just talk over it? We'll leave it on in the background.
I'm getting into it. It's like a rave.
Okay,
a spy rave.
Oh, there we go. We've got some numbers now.
5 3 9 7 1 5 3 9 7 1 5 3 9 7 1 5 3 9 7 1 5 3 9 7 1 5 3 9 7 1 5 3 9.
So what's the main theory about what the numbers and is the tune significant?
I think the tune is just to tell the spy in the target location that it's about to be broadcast. Oh, I like that.
I've got it's about 4 minutes long.
6, 4, 7, 5. 6, 6, 4, 7, 5.
She's changed the numbers, hasn't she?
1, 9, 2, 7, 4. 1, 9, 2, 7, 4. 9, 2, 0, 2, 8. 9, 2, 0, 2, 8. 7, 8, 4, 9, 4. 7, 8, 4, 9, 4. 2, 4, 1, 4, 6. 2, 4, 1, 4, 6. 6, 8, 5, 4, 2. 6, 8, 5, 4, 2. 1, 7, 5, 0, 7. 1, 7, 5, 0, 7. 3, 9, 3, 9, 8. 3, 9, 3, 9, 8. 3, 2, 3, 4, 8. 3, 2, 3, 4, 8. 5, 9, 3, 7, 8.
Because I assume the groups of numbers she's saying twice, so that is, I would assume that's the same message, isn't it?
0, 6,
Or maybe it's just like a test, like they just say that to make sure to give someone time to tune in, maybe. But she sounds really sexy, doesn't she? I think I'm in love. But I can imagine her as some sort of like sexy robot, sort of like speaking at.
She's got to be dirty speaking RP like that, hasn't she? She's got some wicked
great,
kink, hasn't she?
She gets all the leather gear on, doesn't she, at the end of the time?
Here we go. The last couple of seconds. What are we going to do? Are we going to do these one after the other, or are we going to talk a bit in between, or what do you want to do?
I'll talk a bit in between a bit, I reckon.
Yeah. So that was the Lincolnshire Poacher.
It reminds me of the new Avengers for some reason, like
Or the Prisoner. It seems like something from the Prisoner,
like
doesn't it?
Yeah, just odd. Because when they send these numbers out, obviously they've got to decode them, and they use that one-time pad, don't they? So the word they transmit the numbers, and then you write it down on this one-time pad.
But these are always exactly the same, though, aren't they? They don't change.
Yeah, it must be a very simple.
So the spy must get given the key, whatever.
Yeah.
So this wouldn't be the unlocker; it would be the messenger, and the key always changes. I would assume.
That's the ciphered.
Would that make
message.
sense?
No, it's
to
the
you?
ciphered. The numbers they transmit is the ciphered message.
Yeah, but if someone had that paper,
end,
if someone had that bit of paper and the numbers are all and the broadcast is already exactly the same, they'd only have to get the paper. So it must be that whatever they get is the key, isn't it?
Yeah, you'd have to guard the one-time pad with the decoded sort of decodable thing on it. Yeah.
Yeah.
Because they print them on rice paper, don't they? Those one-time pads. So if you get busted, you can just eat it like really quickly. So yeah. That's almost unbreakable, like unless someone nicks your one-time pad.
Yeah, that's what, because that's the essential part, isn't it? The one-time thing.
Because the one-time pad, like the transmitter person's got one, and the spy's got one. So yeah, if someone gets hold of it, yeah, that'd be a bit dodgy. But it's a genius method of doing it, though, because it's just sent over the airwaves, and all the spy needs is a domestic shop-bought shortwave radio, so there's no special equipment needed or
anything
that
they
can
have to listen. They
incriminate.
don't have to broadcast, do they? So I
They just
assume that
need
you
like
can't triangulate someone listening in, can you?
No, because it's just like it's just they're not transmitting. No, it's totally unincriminatable. Yeah, it's just strange. But have you got that picture of the number station machine?
I can.
Could you put that up?
Give me 2 seconds and then I'll put it up.
Because it's not an actual human who's speaking it. It's an actual machine that you program the machine, and that transmits the numbers. It looks like a shop till.
Yeah, it does, doesn't it? Hold on a sec. I haven't put it up yet. I'll let you know when I put it up. Keep talking.
Because you can, looks like a shop till. You can manually program the numbers in, or just feed in ticker tape.
It looks kind of more like a Wayne scale. I think it looks more like a Wayne scale to me.
And they can also transmit Morse code as well. So when you're listening to shortwave radio, you always hear like Morse code, and I think some of that's like number stations as well. But it's just instead of numbers, it's Morse code. But
right. So
because the voice from the machine comes from, it's just a printed circuit, so you can like swap out the printed circuit depending on which language voice you want to use. I'd love to get a older one. I could listen to it all day if you could program in a good bit of number action. Yeah.
Do you think these could be used for more? Well, it makes me laugh because the JPEG's named NS machine.
Yeah. Maybe
Right.
that's its sinister real purpose, isn't it?
Yeah, it's up now. It should be up now. Should be up in a couple of seconds.
I can't. Oh, there it is. Yeah, the old numbers machine. Yeah, I want one, definitely. See, there's the ticker tape. You can feed ticker tape in there as well. But
so what would that
pretty ingenious stuff.
What would that ticker tape be doing then?
That's just got all the numbers on it. It's got the message on it, so you don't have to program it in manually. Like otherwise, you have to program it in each number. You have to type in. Yeah, they do Morse code as well. Yeah, pretty.
Yeah,
ingenious
I saw
stuff.
the demo of the bloke showing you how to do Morse code. So, are we ready for another clip then?
Yeah.
Right, the next clip we've got coming up is 4-note raising scale. This one's called, and we've got 3 minutes 12 of this. I'm getting Close Encounters of the Third Kind from this one.
Yeah, I love it. Yeah, I love it.
I'm waiting for the da 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 da. So this is German then, isn't it?
Yeah, I love it.
Is this ASMR to you, Zero?
Oh, it is, yeah, definitely.
Do some number stations for me, baby.
That could be quite profitable, yeah.
Number stations ASMR.
I'd like to hear the XXX version. Oh, it doesn't stop.
Do you think the beeping in the background is significant as well, Zero?
That could be the Morse code version of the numbers broadcast at the same time, maybe.
8704
This was before the time of real computers, though. I didn't know whether, like, you remember when you used to hear your computer games going, or the modem sound for people's like younger. I didn't know whether that was transmitting information too.
75411. Achtung, 29206, Trennung 43. Achtung, 29206, Trennung 43.
And that's.
I'm in love.
I'm afraid that's the end of your fun.
I'm in love. God. Achtung.
It's like a Kraftwerk tune. Do you think it's where Kraftwerk got their inspiration from?
You might not be wrong there. I mean, I don't know that. I'm sure they tuned in. They must have done. I got the War of the Worlds here in my notes. Did you want to speak about the War of the Worlds briefly?
Yeah, because that caused a huge panic, didn't it?
Mm.
Do you know much about that?
I know it's broadcast. I like it because that sort of connects with Ghostwatch, doesn't it? Like the War of the Worlds.
Doesn't it connect more with what's that other one? The Something 3. Have you ever seen that?
Alternative 3.
Alternative 3. That's the one.
That's when they all go to Mars, isn't it? The scientists go to Mars. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's not a bad bit. Not a bad bit of film actually. It's quite well done. But
yeah, I mean,
well, if you don't know about War of the Worlds, you're gonna have to Google it because I've got too many notes here. But the War of the Worlds.
The straight dope on the War of the Worlds was that they did a radio play about the War of the Worlds, and the Yanks took it seriously.
Yeah, and apparently some people committed suicide and stuff.
Oh well, we're still talking about mysterious noises. How about Gloomy Sunday? And people killing themselves. That's that Hungarian song that loads of people committed suicide while listening to.
The suicide song, yeah.
Yeah.
But it's interesting because the War of the Worlds was first broadcast as a Halloween episode on the 30th of October 1938. But the BBC's Ghostwatch TV special, that was broadcast on Halloween night, 31st of October 1992. So maybe Halloween had something to do with the sort of power that gave it a certain sort of power to these transmissions to freak everyone out.
Well, the main inspiration for Ghostwatch would have been the Enfield haunting, which we'll probably do an episode on at some point.
Yeah. Did that cause that caused a lot of sensation, didn't it?
I think a lot of people believed it because it had like Nick Cook. This was before you had like anybody doing anything, and Nick Cook fronted it, didn't he?
Yeah. And I think another interesting fact is that Orson Welles did the War of the Worlds in America, and in the Mothman Prophecies, John Keel describes this house in Greenwich Village, USA, that was haunted by a figure in a black cape and a wide-brimmed slouch hat. And no one of that description had ever lived there, but a writer called Walter Gibson lived there in the 1930s, and he created this character called the Shadow that Orson Welles did that as well on the radio. So it's like the house was haunted by the character, this fictional character that Walter Gibson invented, and Orson Welles did that, and he did the War of the Worlds as well. So maybe Orson Welles is a bit of a wizard or something.
What was I was trying to think of some other stuff like that, because there's been plenty of things like that have fooled people, hasn't there?
Radio is just so mysterious, isn't it? It's just such a TV's more sort of in your face, isn't it? But radio sort of drifts about, doesn't it, and bounces off mountains and things, and sort of goes up into the atmosphere. And
well, not only that,
comes
radio
back like
goes
that.
into your subconscious, doesn't it? You have to kind of concentrate to watch the TV. Although it is very passive, I'd say kind of radio is probably more insidious, isn't it?
Yeah, well, it goes straight to the subconscious. Yeah, the image part of the brain. Yeah, it's
Well, as they're
certainly
talking, you're
interesting.
imagining things, aren't you? You imagine what the people
Yeah.
look like that are talking. If they're describing something, you're imagining what it sounds or what it looks like.
And they're such wonderful objects as well. The old I used to have an old valve radio, and they're just wonderful art objects almost. It's, they're just amazing, wonderful things. Aerials as well. I don't sound too weird, but I'm rather fond of aerials.
Well, you said you were going to go woo-woo tonight, didn't you?
Yeah, I just appreciate aerial design.
Oh, you ready for this? The next one I've got in the list is this answer
Go on,
phone.
yeah.
It's the answer
Yeah,
phone you
yeah.
told me about. So
Yeah.
this one's called Answer Phone. 40 seconds. And that's that one. So what's the story behind this one?
Well, this is interesting because that's actually an answer phone. Apparently, how they did it, I don't know, but suddenly people in America were ringing up this answer phone, and everyone was getting freaked out. But in the end, that turned out that was like a advertising ploy for some Reddit bloke's horror franchise or horror story. But that's interesting because that shows how number stations were sort of seeping into sort of popular culture kind of thing.
Have you ever heard the Russian hell noise, where the Russians claim to
No.
I should have dug it out for this episode.
Yeah, I have actually. Yeah.
But it turns out that
hell.
clip's actually from a 70s horror film called Barren Blood, isn't it?
Yeah, it's the same sort of thing. Yeah,
Yeah.
I was quite into that at the time. Yeah, they apparently some mining company, wasn't it? They sort of accidentally opened the pit to hell. Yeah, and all these sounds came out. Yeah.
I don't really trust
crazy.
it. If I see a ghost picture or something from Russia, I am immediately kind of suspicious of it because they do like to fake, don't they?
They faked all that stuff in the 60s, didn't they, with that telekinesis and that? Yeah, that was all obviously faked, yeah.
And they gaslit us on Brexit as well, didn't they?
Yeah, it's just gonna... They're shrewd. I think they got a very good sense of humour, the Russians. You've got like President Putin sort of wrestling bears half naked and that, and like it's just like
did you know that Russians never used to consider any alcohol below 10% alcohol? It wasn't considered alcohol.
That's my kind of people.
That's when your nation has got a sense of humour, isn't it?
Yeah, is it? I've always wanted to live in some sort of dreary, sort of like Russian or East European sort of housing block, where sort of vodka comes out of the taps and there's sort of like lovely sort of Russian girls with like fur coats and that. Yeah, quite sort of nice. But I might convert or something.
Mind you, it'd probably be more like do you remember the 80s? The 80s opinion of Russian women, it was like a big old babushka, weren't it?
Yeah,
big old babushka that could probably lift a tractor.
Yeah.
Right, so next one we've got is called Counting Control.
0, 0, 9, 6, 2, 2, 5, 1, 2, 1, 1, 0, 8, 1, 0, 5, 0, 0, 9, 6, 2, 2, 5, 1, 2, 1, 1, 0, 8, 1, 0, 5,
I take the old Yanks are no good at a number station, do they? They don't really get the oeuvre, do they?
I love that bit. I love that little bit of frequency at the end there. I love
Yeah, it sounds like a
shortwave
car driving by or something, doesn't it?
Yeah. Because when I first started listening to shortwave, that was before the internet, and you used to hear all sorts of like fascinating like static on there, but it's all gone now because they've all gone on they're all on the internet now.
I've read something once ages ago that apparently the sounds you get through on medium wave on your car will tell you the state of your alternator. Apparently, it was something I read ages ago. So by listening to medium wave, you can actually find out whether your alternator's on the way up or not.
Strange. Yeah, I suppose that could. How the hell would that interfere with or interact with the alternator? I don't know what an alternator is.
The
alternator is magnetic, isn't it?
The alternator is the thing that puts the current, puts juice back in your battery as you're driving.
Oh, it's electrical, yeah. Oh, yeah. That's understandable. And yeah, I'm just fascinated by it.
Well, there's so much we don't know about electromagnetism and fields and things like that, isn't there?
Scientists like to think they know everything, but they don't. I mean, they might have invented electricity, but they don't know all the sort of secret sort of functions of electricity.
Well, they don't. They didn't really invent it. All they do is harness it, don't they? You can't invent. That's all they can do is like the human brain. They still have very little understanding of the human brain.
Yeah.
They can cut bits out and mash bits back together, but they don't. They can't repair a brain, can they? They can just short circuit it, can't they?
But they're so arrogant, aren't they? They're arrogant people. They think they know everything, but they don't. They know probably 10% of everything that they know. Everything that they publish and that they know probably about 10% about its actual sort of secret or unknown functions. Yeah.
Well, it's like cancer. I'm sure you could probably do a study that proves that people wearing green jumpers wear cancer. It's like they don't, because all they do is spot patterns with cancer. They don't really understand cancer, how or why it pops up, do they? They just correlate things that happen, don't they?
But they think they know it all, don't they? They think they sort of like, and you start talking about ghosts or something, and they laugh at you, but they don't seem to realise that. Maybe some old medium knows more about reality than they do. It's just like But back to radio. I mean, when radio was first introduced in the early 1920s, I mean, that really did cause a scare because, like, apparently, the first listeners to radio, they weren't sure whether the voices were actually living or dead people. Because that was the time of spiritualism, and some people were thinking like, is this dead people coming out of the radio? These like invisible voices. It's just that's great, isn't it? It's great.
What a time to be alive! Having some wonder about the world rather than being jaded and like with the world like we are.
Stuck to the computer screen where everything's just there, isn't it? Like vulgarly's just there, isn't it? Sort of touch of a button. Because apparently Nikola Tesla and Thomas Edison, they apparently were trying to use radio to contact the spirit world, weren't they? And apparently, I don't know whether that Tesla one was. He was just picking up sort of actual sort of not spiritual communications, but sort of star transmissions. But I know Thomas Edison definitely did try to create a machine to contact the.
Are you ready for some more ASMR? We have
Yeah.
Check Lady now.
Oh, checkmate.
See, the Czechs know how to make a number station, don't they?
Oh, yeah. Oh, she's hot.
I don't know, she seems quite stern. I think she's a lights off girl. So, what do you think? There was some amazing sweeps in that, weren't there?
Yeah.
Whooshing sounds every now and again.
Yeah. That's so mysterious. That's great.
Yeah, I haven't got to any ones that really give me the creeps. The Lincolnshire Poacher used to give me the creeps, but no, it doesn't so much.
Yeah. I just love the static. I love the voices, but the static's great as well. I could listen to that all day, I think. It's just better than proper music. I'm bored with music.
Hello there, good sir.
Ah, we go. It's Mr. Hobbit's joined us.
Oh, Hobbit.
Right. Top of the morning to you.
You've just... Zero's been... You've been listening?
I've been going voting for the Ulster Democrats.
I've lost the Democrats.
Is that a party?
Yes, they are.
Oh, God. Oh, dear. All right. Okay.
We're political streaming later, Hobbit. We're doing number stations at the moment.
No, that's quite all right. I thought I'd come in and be professionally disrailing things.
Sound like you fresh out the pub, mate.
It's funny that.
God, I was hoping for some proper shortwave autism from you, Hobbit.
Yes, I too was hoping for some proper shortwave autism, and then a thing came up, and I was like, I haven't eaten yet, and I haven't eaten really that well all week, so I need to take care of number one first. Then we can deal with number two.
So, do you have any shortwave autism for us?
Yes, you know the band Boards of Canada?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, especially on the Giugaddi album, there's a lot of samples taken from shortwave radio. Why am I looking at the phone? Here's the microphone. Yes, there's a lot of number stations featured on that, and a lot of counting. And I haven't listened to the first hour of the show because I've been driving. So I assume you've talked about the Lincolnshire Poacher.
Yeah,
it's
you
not
missed
all
the
numbers.
Lincolnshire Poacher. We've still got a few to get through. Yeah, we're not even halfway.
So carry on, and I'll listen.
So should we?
Cabaret Voltaire.
Should we go for
Voltaire, the British. They did shortwave or cabaret. I can't remember the album title, but Cabaret Voltaire, like the early industrial British group, they used shortwave on their LP. But
did they use any? Has anyone used any number stations?
I think Morrissey didn't he, at the start of his Ouija board song? Or am I getting that mixed up? I'm pretty sure he used. Yeah, he did it. Yeah, it's on his Ouija board single. Ouija board. You know that song?
I know that. I've never been a big Morrissey fan.
Oh no, I disavow. It's not me. I'm not.
Is Morrissey the vegetarian?
Yeah,
he's the vegetarian Anne-Marie Walters fan, isn't he?
Yeah.
Oh, is Billy Bragg a vegetarian as well?
Must be.
Oh,
I think my favourite Morrissey song was one that. Do you remember what's his name? The one with the paper mache head, Frank Sidebottom covered "Panic in the Streets,"
God, yeah.
and it was "Panic in the Streets of Timperley." It was.
I know. A Billy Bragg anecdote. I used to know this girl at school who was really hot, and I don't know how you do it, but she got into Billy Bragg, or she was not Billy Bragg's helper, but she somehow got involved in the Billy Bragg thing. And I saw her a few years later, and she was all like bloated and frumpy and like horrible.
This is a point. It may be like, is it because they get infested with demons or what? But have you noticed like the symptoms of leftism kind of externalise is probably the best way to put it.
It's like there's the problem glasses. That's the first thing, isn't it? And then there's the frumpy haircut, isn't it?
But they go like it doesn't matter how pretty they were to start with. It's like I don't know. It's like something takes over their body, and like the leftism like corrupts and warps the body, doesn't it?
That really does, yeah. It's like psychiatric drugs. Like when someone takes psychiatric drugs, they get fat and like bloated and sort of stupider.
Yeah.
Maybe they feed them Billy Bragg drugs or something.
Billy Bragg drugs.
Sorry if you're listening, Billy, but
unisex chip shop.
Billy's a big fan of the show. Vote Corbyn, kids.
Yeah.
Vote Diane Abbott. Vote Diane Abbott and her odd shoes.
In his mansion in Lincolnshire or whatever. Yeah, he's a proper leftist. Yeah.
Oh, I know what we forgot to talk about. We were going to do a little bit of politics, weren't we? You were going to say about the something surrounding the job centre.
Oh, the job centre, yeah. Because we were talking the other day about the election, and
because we were going to do try and make it a bit topical.
Yeah,
I remember now.
I sort of thought, well, I'm going to do I don't do this quite often. Because when I get like psychic impressions, the best ones that are accurate usually just happen out of the blue. Like when I try to do it, obviously you get the subjective sort of warpings of that. But
is it like flying from the Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy? You just have to throw yourself at the floor and miss. You have to just stop thinking about it.
It's like I don't want to sort of toot my own horn, but I have made like proper accurate psychic predictions with my friends and that, but they just come out of the blue, which is really odd because surely they shouldn't come out of the blue, should they? You should be able to just do it. But I don't know. Just one example, like my friend came round one day and we were talking. This thought just came into my head that because he was saying like, "Oh, I wish I had a girlfriend," and when he said that, the thought just came into my head that you're going to get a girlfriend in the next 2 weeks, and she's going to have a yellow car. And I told him that, and like bugger me, 2 weeks later, he's got this girlfriend with a yellow car, and like yellow cars are the most rare coloured car in the UK. But I don't know. It just comes to me. I mean, it must come to everyone, surely. But people, these thoughts.
I think people have kind of
people
have learned to ignore their gut, haven't they? Or
Yeah.
learned or trained to ignore their gut, haven't they?
It's either Rudyard Kipling or G.K. Chesterton that says occasionally people encounter things which are out of the ordinary, things are out of the ordinary, but if they trip over it, they pick themselves off, dust themselves off, and carry on as if nothing ever happened.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, I'm terrible for ignore. I'm supposed to be a psychic, but I ignore my gut feelings all the time. It's terrible.
I think like the education system's kind of designed to beat that out of us.
Oh yeah. Well, certainly everything is really, isn't it? It's like
I think
there's nothing you can do.
The local news. You watch the local news, and you have someone talking about ghosts, and you have the X-Files music, and everyone starts chuckling, don't they?
Well, there's nowhere you can go, is there? If you're like growing up and you sort of interested in the psychic, you can't join the Hogwarts school, can you? There's nothing to join, is there? Unless you want to be, you can either join the army or join the church, can't you? But it's just.
Well, you could have joined the Jesus Army, but they're defunct now.
Yeah. I knew a Jesus Army girl, back in Norwich, God.
Onward, Christian soldiers, marching us to war.
Well, it turned out to be a massive con, didn't it?
Well, apparently they were all pedos, weren't they? But that's this Jesus Army girl I knew. She had a heart of gold, and she'd like put up homeless people. And they'd always steal her purse,
Aren't a lot of Jesus Army like ex-junkies and stuff like that?
Yeah, that's the thing. Well, this Jesus Army girl said that when she first got into it, she stayed at their HQ in Northamptonshire.
In Bugbrook.
And she said, someone tried to hypnotise her, like without her will. So, that's a first-hand account. So, it was dodgy, Yeah, definitely. You go join the Jesus Army, the next thing you're being hypnotised by some sort of creepy bloke,
So if we, have we speculated?
Go on then, Rob.
Sorry to dredge up like hours old content, but have we or the chat speculated yet as to the purpose of number? Because this is an open question. There's no definitive answer to it.
I think it has to be governmental, because otherwise it would have been tracked down and stamped out by now, wouldn't it? I think the law of averages says that it's governmental, doesn't it?
It's broadcast from like proper radio stations with like massive power use and a massive aerial. So that must be like giving the government go ahead, because it'd be obvious that if that was a pirate station, that'd be obvious and that'd be shut down. So
I regret not talking with people I know who do amateur radio, as I said I was going to for this show. It's been one of those weeks.
Who's more important to you, Arbit? People you know from the internet or real life friends? I think you need to get your priorities straight.
Oh yeah, but I was going to talk with people I know offline who do amateur radio, and ask them about this, because it really, I mean, there's like a few questions I got asked, like, for example, where do these signals originate from? Can you triangulate them? And
yes,
what is the
I know.
output?
Have you ever heard of the Yosemite Sam one? I don't think that's in the list for tonight. But the Yosemite Sam one, they actually tracked it to a government transmitter. This is only stuff that the government can do.
Yeah.
So the only real question is which branch of the government is doing it,
and whose governments are participating in this? Because there are. It's not all just in English, is it? These number stations.
No, we've played a Czech one so far. We've played a German one.
There's a long running site on Gibraltar, isn't it? Gibraltar, like
Gibraltar.
a number station. Yeah, That's got to be us, isn't it? I would imagine.
Yeah.
British.
I'm thinking as well with these shortwave radio stations, they're using like I don't know what the power consumption is for a transmitter that goes all across the world, but I think it's safe to assume that a destroyer or a cruiser has sufficient power on board that they could do this. So I'm starting to think that they're probably not all land-based. There'll be some in the oceans as well.
Yeah, that's quite possible. Yeah. It seems it's not really a clunky technology, but they're still doing it now. I'd have thought they'd have come up with something else now, but yeah, maybe it's just such a good system, like almost unbreakable, that they
Are
keep
we ready?
using
Are we
it.
ready for another number station? This one is called DFD21.
Delta Foxtrot Delta 21 Delta Foxtrot Delta.
This is like watching Mind Your Language, isn't it?
Delta Foxtrot Delta.
I like this one. All you need is a good beat to it.
Delta Foxtrot Delta 21. Delta Foxtrot Delta 21. Delta Foxtrot Delta 21.
And this just loops over and over, does it?
Yeah, sometimes you have different bits at the end. This clip is...
Delta
There's about another minute and a half to go.
Delta 21.
Okay.
Sometimes, like, the last third is like completely different.
Delta 21.
Nicholas is not headphone friendly, this one. And I happen to be having my headphones on. I can appreciate what you're saying.
Yeah, it is a bit migraine inducing, this one. Isn't it?
One thing which strikes me in this is you hear the background chirping noise.
Yeah.
Es folgen Mitteilungen
Well, what I suggested earlier is maybe that's
she said
transmitting
something else.
data.
278 24
Yeah,
Bünnet 20
it is.
Bünnet 20
It's not Morse code. It's some sort of other data actually.
890
And
890
as you can hear by the sort of the fading in and out, which is caused by the shortwave bouncing across the ionosphere. Because the ionosphere is not a clear boundary, it's, as you know, it's a gaseous layer, and that's causing it, the loud flutter to happen in the signal. So it sounds to me like you're repeating a very small piece of information over and over again for error correction purposes.
8
Well, some of these they change frequencies during the day, so they'll have like a daytime frequency and a nighttime frequency.
But in which case, having like the woman with saying the various like words, it's almost like secondary to what is actually going on there. The data code. I'm almost wondering if the data code is like a key for a database, and then when the numbers are being read out, it corresponds to these words in the database. So if 1 equals the and 2 equals this, and it could be a bit more complicated than that, because otherwise if she's saying 7 over and over again, and 7 means like the, then that's a lot of the. But I'm just thinking that the numbers correspond to something in a key, and the key is the chirping that goes over and over.
But what you got to remember about these number stations is they're always exactly the same. So the message is over and over and over. So me and Zero were talking earlier, and we assumed that whatever the spy gets given would be the bit that changes.
But is it though? Because I'm starting to wonder. It's like for the first 18 hours, it's the same thing over and over again, but then it'll change. And I'm starting to wonder, like for example, shortwave is an ideal carrier. I mean, I know the Navy also uses VLF, very low frequency, which is below shortwave, and there was some sort of talk about how that's interfering with whale songs and whale navigation. But shortwave okay, you need submarines to surface to access it, but it can be heard all across the world. For example, I mean, I'm not sure if it's common knowledge. It probably is that the contingency plan for the Trident submarines is if ever they can't hear BBC World Service for, I want to say a number like 40 minutes, but if they can't hear it for an hour, they will carry on with the contingency plans, which means to launch nukes at pre-selected targets. So the BBC World Service has always got to be broadcasting.
Because you don't need much power to broadcast around the world with shortwave. That's what's so ideal about it, yeah.
How much power does a shortwave radio station...
Now we've got the Hobbit number station, which is a series of clicks.
Yeah.
Well, like people in their bedrooms broadcast around the world, don't they, with Morse? So I don't think that'd be that much power. Although maybe they're sent. I don't know how. Maybe they send it. I don't know. Is it sent to like a transmitting station and then it's transmitted? Well, no, they transmit through their aerials, didn't they, in the back garden? So. Yeah.
Well, you showed that YouTube video, didn't you? That that shortwave can also be used to transmit vision. Did you know that, Hobbit?
Yeah. SSTV images, yeah.
Yeah, slow scan. I've actually got a book about slow scan television technology. You can send information very slowly over wireless.
Yeah.
And there was a thing with ham radio about IP, Internet Protocol over radio. So you can use it. It's very low bandwidth because you're dealing with.
Yeah, because you're losing a lot of signal, aren't you, to the atmosphere?
Well, yeah, but there's also the fact that if you're dealing with the lower frequencies, unless you would like to take up the entire band, you've got a small section of the band which you can use to transmit information. That's why there's a push for 5G using 5 gigahertz and above. Is it 5 gigahertz? No, I think it's higher frequencies than that.
Oh, don't start on the 5G. That's a
dealing with higher and higher frequencies, so that you can have more bandwidth. The disadvantage being because it's high frequencies, they don't have much range.
But I thought they were going to cook us all from hundreds and hundreds of miles away.
Yes, because we're all going to be inside an oven with like these things.
If they're sending color SSTV still pictures over the shortwave, is it going into my brain?
Well, has your brain got a modem which can demodulate the encrypted signal?
Yeah, but I've got fillings though.
That's the pituitary gland, isn't it? That's crystals.
Oh, do your fillings pick up a shortwave radio?
No, I'm joking. I ain't got any fillings, but it's like
they do though, don't they?
I'll tell you what, and my friend didn't believe me until I gave him the speakers because I got fed up with them, and I said, I had this. I spent 20 quid on this pair of active speakers, and I said, "Oh yeah, they're all right, but occasionally they will pick up shortwave radio, especially at night time." And he's like, "Oh, that's impossible. It's an amplifier. It won't do that." It's like, well, I'm telling you, they pick up. Oh, you must have just been listening to it. I know what signal I put into my speakers. I wasn't using it for picking up shortwave radio, and he started using it for a couple of days. This is. Oh, I see what you mean. Yeah, I'm picking up shortwave radio on that.
That's because they have to. Isn't it the FCC regulations where they have to be they have to be really, really passive, don't they?
Yeah.
Well, the thing is, you've got an amplifier inside a pair of speakers, and you've got cables trailing everywhere. You've effectively got a bunch of antennas, and the amplifier was a lazy, sloppy design. And it just amplified any signal it picked up, not just stuff that was going in line in. So things which were going in the output, it was still going, oh yeah, I'm going to amplify that as well.
Yeah,
right, I'm going to put a number station on quick because I need to go for what the Yanks call a comfort break. This is English Lady 50.
5 4 0 6 1 6 1 0 9 0 1 4 0, 9, 0, 1, 4, 5, 3, 9, 9, 3, 5, 3, 9, 9, 3, 7, 5, 1, 6, 3, 7, 5, 1, 6, 3, 5, 2, 8, 3, 5, 5, 2, 8, 3, 5, 2, 7, 4, 6, 3, 2, 7, 4, 6, 3, 2, 1, 2, 9, 3, 2, 1, 2, 9, 3, 2, 1, 7, 6, 2, 2, 1, 7, 6, 2, 6, 8, 3, 3, 3, 6, 8, 3, 3, 3, 9, 5, 7, 4, 1, 9, 5, 7, 4, 1, 0, 7, 2, 5, 9, 3, 3, 2, 9, 7, 3, 4, 2, 8, 4, 3, 4, 2, 8, 4, 5, 7, 6, 4, 1, 5, 7, 6, 4, 1, 6, 4, 2, 6, 2, 6, 4, 2, 6, 2, 7, 4, 2, 6, 0, 7, 4, 2, 6, 0, 7, 5, 2, 6, 6, 7, 5, 2, 6, 6, 5, 4, 0, 5, 4, 0, 6, 1, 6, 1, 0, 0, 0, 0, 0.
Maybe she was sending that to me. 0, 0 at the end.
0, 0.
So what do you make of that number station?
I think the Europeans have got the edge on us because at least they throw a bit of techno in there, don't they?
But what you were saying? What about number stations in general?
Well, there wasn't really much background noise on that one. It was quite clear. It was just a bunch of numbers.
Very strong signal, wasn't it?
That's why they're quite hard to kind of get to grips to what they're all about because they're all like slightly different. When you think you've got a constant, you listen to another one and something else has changed, doesn't it?
I'm looking here. I can't seem to find a definitive answer for. This is something I wouldn't mind coming back to actually when they have more numbers. So you know me and numbers, but the
Well, I could do
can't
the
find
amount of number
shortwave
stations I've got. I downloaded a whole folder of them, so the amount I've got, I could do another couple of parts on this one.
Oh well, I wouldn't mind revisiting it, but when it comes to medium wave, which is the next band above shortwave radio, there's some places like in Saudi Arabia and Europe which have got 2 megawatt transmitters. Now that means that 2 megawatt is being outputted from the transmitter. I don't know what the efficiencies of them are, but one person saying is like if they're 50% efficient, which is actually quite good for a Class A amplifier, some of them are like 10% efficient, then that means, it's outputting 2 megawatts, but it'll take anything, 4 megawatts if it's 50% efficient. I'm thinking to myself, an aircraft carrier with a nuclear reactor could output
So
4
when
megawatts.
it's not efficient, like as you know, like the old style light bulbs, they lost a lot of efficiency for heat. So what do medium wave transmitters lose it as then?
Right. So I think. So hopefully some electronics nerd in the chat's going to correct me on this. But with amplifiers, I've heard of Class A, Class B, and Class D, and that's for like when you get a signal and you want to power your speakers. I've asked people, it's like, what's Class C then? I said, oh, that's for transmitting, but also you can use Class A and B and D to transmit as well. All right. And I don't really understand what the difference in quality. So I can't say, oh, Class A's amplify this way, whereas Class D's do this.
Yeah.
I know that Class D's are the most efficient, although they have some problems. People quite like the sound of Class A amp. But the point being is they're not 100% efficient. So if you've got a transmitter which is outputting 2 megawatts, you could be looking at 10 megawatts. You really need a ground-based power station in order to output that. So,
No,
sorry if I didn't answer your
is
question.
when you're saying there's a loss in efficiency, what is that like? I mean, does the sound just like spray out into the ether, or is it just?
Oh no, the loss is actually in the amplified stuff itself. I mean, if you've ever dealt with like,
so it disappears before it even gets out anywhere.
yeah, I mean, if you've ever dealt with an amp before, you've got like transformers and other bits where there's like heat. You've got power transistors, and you've got like great big heat sinks bolted onto them to dissipate their heat.
Oh, so much like a light bulb, they're losing it in heat as well then.
Yeah, and like if someone's like, oh, I've got this valve amp, and you sort of stand near it, it's like, oh, those valves are kicking out a lot of heat.
Yeah, because they look like light bulbs, don't they? Valves.
Yeah, I mean, there's the difference between a light bulb and a valve is not that much. I mean, with a valve, you've got a plate, which is like the cathode or the anode. I'm sorry, I don't remember what polarity is which. And you've got a plasma going between them and the various other contact points in there.
Oh, hold on. I've just got something. I'm just going to derail you a sec for London Bridge. Stephen James in the chat has said that the London Bridge happening was on the 333rd day of the year, with 33 days of the year left. We'll be in a leap year this year.
That's
Coron's
yeah. Okay. That all right. That yeah. I mean, the other thing about the thing, there's so much that's spooky about it. I mean, did people see that video of the guy who was allegedly shot in the chest, allegedly getting up? Allegedly.
Yes, I saw that.
Have I said allegedly enough times?
I
allegedly?
think so. Yeah, I think you've put MI5 off.
Yeah. Please, I'm not going to commit suicide. I'm not suicidal.
Hobbit didn't kill himself.
No.
Well, 333 is the number of the demon Coronzon out of the Enochian system, which is he's like the guardian to hell. to put it bluntly,
Jesus.
Yeah.
It's obviously Masonic, isn't there? Because you get 33 and a third degree Masons. I thought that was actually worth derailing for that point.
No, that's quite all right, because I was going to say I was going to have an Anne of Green Gables moment there, where chronozon is one of those words I've seen written, but I've never tried to pronounce it before.
Anne of Green Gables, that just makes me think of Greensleeves, which was like our own version of a numbers station in the 90s when you had old music.
Well, the reason I mention Anne of Green Gables is she went to this boarding school where they were Quebecois, and she could read. She could read and write French. Yeah, she went to the Quebecois, but she couldn't speak it, so they're taking the piss out of how she was pronouncing French. And it's like, yeah, you're dealing with a girl who grew up in Prince Edward Island, where everyone speaks the Lord's English, and you're speaking your
probably
fuzzy
speak
wuzzy
RP
language.
as well, don't they?
Received pronunciation. Well,
Yes.
no, I mean, they're fairly rural on Prince Edward Island,
Right.
but point being is she was clever enough to read and write in French, and they're taking the piss out of her for mispronouncing her words because she had no Frenchie to speak with.
Well, this is what I've always found weird about football. We really are going off on a tangent now. This is what I've found weird about football. It's like, our commentators busting a back to to pronounce someone's name properly. You don't get someone trying to say David Beckham in a Cockney accent, do you? When you get a Froggy commentating on the game, they just speak it in Froggy. They just pronounce it in Froggy, don't they?
I know, but it's almost like the thing if you mispronounce it, it's considered to be bad form. So
yeah, but
someone in the chat
mispronouncing virtually everything in our language isn't considered bad form, which is kind of typical. I think is probably the word I'd use.
Well, I've been on Twitter recently, and someone's been like doing quite captions with the Watchmen. You know, there's Dr. Compton to replace Dr. Manhattan. You know the one I'm on about?
Yeah, I do.
We will be going back to number stations, but I think it's important we have a little aside for this, and I will bring it into number stations. Wait.
While we're on Alan Moore, did you see that article today he wrote for the was it the Guardian or something? He's wrote a column for the Guardian saying how he doesn't normally vote, but he's voting Labour because the world depends on getting magic.
Yes, whilst I'm at my place of work, instead of doing work, I'm reading the Guardian because I like to wind myself up. But going on to Dr. Compton, he was writing this thing in like how he's annoyed with they bitches. And I said, I'm not sure what's worse, the egregious rape of our language or our women. And I appreciate he's trying to do it in the character of Dr. Compton, but I still find it really annoying the way he is like butchering the English language.
Hobbit, those are Tuesday thoughts you have in there, mate.
No. Back onto this, and you'll see how I'm going to tie this in.
One more from the chat before we move on. Apparently, do you know this one, Zero, that 33 is a satanic number because it refers to the number of angels cast out of heaven with Satan?
I know, it's like 2/3, isn't it? 2/3 were cast out. And
what, so there's 100 in total? Oh no, that'd be 66.
Yeah, like
99.
2 divided by 3 is 0.6666, but with God's 7 at the end of it. So God's still in control.
He's got the control. He's got the controlling share.
Yeah.
I'm going to carry on with this, and you'll see how you'll be like, we're glad Hobbit goes on a tangent because we appreciate how he manages to tie it all up at the end.
Goes on a 33 1/3 degree angle.
Well, you know, like we put the records on at 33 1/3 revolutions a minute, where if you're having a long play one. I also preferred the 45s, but that's another thing that's not related to this. Dr. Compton, you know how Dr. Manhattan, he had the symbol on his forehead of the hydrogen atom?
Yeah.
Yeah. And so Stone Toss did a comic of it where they're zooming into Dr. Compton's forehead, and it's a 6-pointed star hexagram inside a circle. And if you look at a 6-pointed star, you've got 6 points, 666, because you've got the 6 points, the 6 edges, the 6 triangles.
The hexagon.
Those add up to 360, yeah. And, 33, 360. I'm pretty sure there's ways of doing numerology around it. Those numbers are all tied together.
Yeah. The hexagon's used to conjure up spirits into. Yeah, that's for ages, yeah. So
I always thought 33 was one of those numbers like 333 being half of the number of the beast. It's one of those numbers. Funny enough, in one of our colleagues at chat, he occasionally, we call it the jukebox. So we've got an old laptop plugged into the amplifier, and he'll put in like 432 hertz headphones, and I get really bored with it because it's like it's the sort of stuff I listen to on. No, it's not even that. It's just like really boring long tones on the synthesizer, which I'd hear on this station called Sleepbot, as in ambient music designed not to be interesting that you could go to sleep to. And I got bored with it, so I put on some Christmas carols with organ music. And I said to him, you like all those healing tones? And he said, yeah. And I said, well, that's the whole point with the organs. They were built before tones were weaponized because people understood that there were healing tones. He says, oh, is it 432 hertz? And I said, well, the A note will be 432 hertz, but you realize that's because C equals 512, which is a multiple of 2. It is a multiple of 2, but it's also a binary number. And I'm not sure what the ratio is exactly between A and C. Hopefully some musicians in the chat can say, oh, it's 4/5 of C or whatever, to explain why if C equals 512, A equals 432. But yeah,
My granddad
these numbers are important.
My granddad used to be a huge fan of Klaus Wunderlich and his Wurlitzer organ.
I've had a few of his LPs.
Yeah, didn't he used to do like Wurlitzer versions of like the pop hits of the day, didn't he?
He's like James Last, weren't he? Yeah. Sort of.
I like that. I like it when people cover songs and make them better than the original, like Death in Rome.
Yeah, so if you want something interesting, Hobbit, go for some Klaus Wunderlich.
So anyway, my tangent about Dr. Compton with the Star of David on his head that's a 666 as well. Back to the 33 and the number stations.
Right, let's go for another one. We've got next. Note.
Can I just get this in? Otherwise, I forget that what you were speaking about earlier, Hobbit, about the speaker picking up the radio. That I read about that once, so I thought, well, I'm going to bloody try this. So I took a tape recorder up a mountain, and I had a mono jack plug with 2 wires affixed. And I was said, like, you plug one wire into the earth, push it into the earth, and the other wire to a metal fence. And I found this really long metal fence. So I did that, plugged it in, and the tape recorder picked up the radio.
It's
just odd, isn't it?
One of the first things I did with when I was doing electronics was using a very long antenna and a passive radio to pick up shortwave signals. That's the reason these stations have to be so powerful, is that the signal goes out, and when you have a radio receiver, it is taking that. So in theory, if people were to have like billions upon billions of radios, there wouldn't be enough signal to go around, and they'd have to increase the transmitter power to put out more power. But you are taking an infinitesimal amount of that transmitter's power to power the radio. And if you've got like a really long antenna, it's efficient enough that you can hear something.
Yeah, that's fascinating stuff. Yeah.
Right, are we ready for this? Is called Note Version Check Lady. So another one of your ASMR.
Oh yeah.
Dobry dzień.
See, the old Czechs don't know how to do a number station, don't they? It sounds like something out of a 1970s sci-fi movie, doesn't it?
They should stick to making lagers.
Jedna.
3,
7, 2, 6. 6, 3, 7, 2, 6.
I assume it's Czech, is it, she's speaking?
1, 5. 1, 5. 0, 8, 7, 6. 8. 0, 8, 7, 6. 8. 1, 7. 1, 7. 1, 3, 0, 9, 4. 1, 3, 0, 9, 4.
Oh, that was a nice short one.
Yeah.
Minute and
It sounds
38.
so sexy, these numbers were. Well, what about crystal sets? I mean, that's the same thing as what we were talking about. But, crystal sets, they don't need electricity or batteries. But what if you used like a really big crystal with like a demon inside? Because demons live in crystals. Would you hear the demon's voice coming out of it to be?
Well,
not weird,
One of the things prior to this is something which I'm going to just quote from Freeman. The televisions, the original research into it was done by the Golden Dawn Society, not to be confused with Golden Dawn, the political party in Greece. And they were a modern version of the crystal ball to do divination.
Mm.
Yeah, you have got entities which live in crystals. I'm not sure if I call them demons, but
Well, yeah, that's just. I know I shouldn't say that name now because I don't like that name either.
I mean, demons. There's a lot of negative stigma attached to that, and I remember those guys trying to say that actually you should call them daemons, where they're like
Yeah.
they're neither good nor bad, but they can be malicious if you piss
Well,
them off.
that's the theory of the jinn, isn't it? That the jinn live in a frequency just beyond us. But the jinn are literally like people, where you get some good ones, some bad ones. Some are indifferent.
Yeah, so they're
just generally like people.
But I got a feeling with these demons, especially the ones looking for possession, they are malevolent, and their intentions are purely to take people over. So maybe predatory is another term as well. They're looking to take people. But I think it's very interesting that the start of radio wasn't like, oh yeah, this could be a form of communication. No, I suppose it was a form of communication, but not to communicate, the archers or the news, but as in, let's see if we can contact spirits using these ethereal plane.
Because some cultures have things called spirit traps, don't they? Which are like brightly coloured, intricate maze type constructions. And if you think of the inside of a radio, there's all these multicolored wires forming this maze, and there's all like odd sort of capacitors and things, and they seem like spirit traps to me. I mean, a wandering spirit's wandering through the atmosphere. He sees a radio and he gets fascinated and trapped inside the insides of it.
Well, you get those. What are those boxes called? The ones that sweep. The ones that do a constant sweep of the FM bat. Is it FM or AM? I can't remember.
Ghost boxes, aren't they?
Ghost boxes, yeah. And they pick out phrases and things, don't they?
Mm. I think they could quite possibly be spirits actually inside radios and TVs, trapped inside them. That sounds weird.
No, I agree with you. And so Mr. 262 was saying that a great deal of nuclear defense systems still use valves because they're less susceptible to electromagnetic pulses. The Russians, I mean, this is why to the day when everybody else gave up with valves, the Russians still carry on doing them because it is for defense purposes they use them. The Ministry of Defense uses gallium arsenide instead of silicon because it's less susceptible to EMP. I suppose if you're making a solid state device even with discrete transistors as opposed to integrated circuits, it's still a lot more reliable and durable than the valve.
Here's one from back in the
either system works.
Here's one from back in the day, Zero. Do you remember the phenomenon of the floppy 7-inch on the front of a magazine?
Oh yeah, I had some of them. Yeah,
I got one of those, and I was like, "How the hell do you play this? You need a really flat platter. So if you've got like a rubber mat with ridges on it, you need something underneath, like another record to."
Yeah, because
the sound quality
Delquar in the chat has said, I collected a mag called Unexplained in the 80s and one had a floppy 7-inch of Voices of the Dead. Ghosts and etc. was creepy back in the day.
I had that,
so did you have that floppy 7-inch as well then?
Yeah, with all the EVP voices on it, yeah. There's an actual 7-inch vinyl of that as well that was given free with the first edition of Konstantin Raudive's Breakthrough book. Yeah, I got it out of the library, yeah. Nice. It was really warped, though. The 7-inch was really warped.
Well, it would be.
That's kind of funny.
Right, let's go into. So this one here is one that your friend found in the 1990s.
Oh yeah, in North
4 2 1 8 8 4 2 1 8 8 9 4 2 9 8 9 4 2 9 8 8 0 5 9 4 8 0 5 9 4 7 4 5 6 0
6, 0, 7, 0, 9, 7, 2, 7, 0, 9, 7, 2, 7, 3, 5, 2, 1, 7, 8, 5, 2, 1, 0.
That was something else bleeding in at the end there, wasn't it? The 8.5.
Yeah.
That's atmospheric interference.
But it's funny how it came through with numbers, though. That's a weird coincidence, isn't it?
He was a weird guy. He was like a radio ham. He picked that up in the 1990s in North Wales, and I said before, like he said, like he's in this like radio ham club, and he told me that they regularly pick up like unidentified signals on shortwave, and no one knows what they are because they're all like nerd. I don't mean this in disparaging way.
They're
but,
all
they're
total
radio
experts,
nerds.
aren't they?
Yeah, they're
not.
nerds.
They're
They know
not
it all.
amateurs at this. They're not just people who are just messing around, are they? They're real experts.
They live for it. Yeah.
Well, that guy
So
that robbery in London, he was the radio ham that solved that, wasn't he? Do you remember the bank? There's been a couple of films about it. I think one of them being the bank job.
Oh yeah.
A radio ham overheard the robbers talking on their walkie-talkies.
Oh right. Yeah.
Oh, great! That must have been fun.
Yeah, there's a
can I
film.
just
There's a
say
film
that-
about it. It's called The Bank Job. Got Jason.
Can I just
Jason
say now
Statham.
that the dear chat that we are doing a very serious show here about the strange phenomena of number shows, and we do not appreciate penis jokes in the chat. This is a serious show for serious people, and
Did
humour
someone
is
make a
not
7-inch
welcome
floppy
here.
joke? Did they?
Oh, did they just?
Oh god.
Yes. Yes. Well, you see, when he said, I thought they would normally come in 3-inch versions. I thought he was talking about computer diskettes.
That's 3.5 inch. He didn't correct him, Hobbit.
3 1/4, mind
Is
you.
it 3 1/4? Oh, 3.5's a hard drive, isn't it?
It's 3 1/4 because that's the average width of the IBM office worker's pocket. So, like, how big can we make this floppy disk? Well, as big as it'll fit inside a pocket.
Yeah, because before that, was it 5.5? Was the old standard?
Was it 5.5 inch or was it 5 1/4? Because that standard is still used for optical drives, but I'm not going to type. I'm going to click on my. I use the website for PC components.
Yeah.
So carry on talking about number
Can you still
stations.
buy
whilst I do
floppies
that.
then? Can you?
Good question. Actually, I'm going to have a look. See if I can.
I've still got a few. Yeah.
Oh, well, I think we've got a bit of a radio ham in chat. Del Qua said I used to pick up the Soviet wheat reports and strange things like that on shortwave.
Yeah. Oh, this guy who recorded the one we just heard. Now I haven't checked this, but he told me that the analog FM radio signal is broadcast vertically and horizontally at the same time. So he said that because that allowed the maximum amount of reception. But if it's being broadcast vertically, the actual signal, if it's vertical and horizontal at the same time, it's going to form like a massive cross, isn't it?
Yeah,
It does.
And he said, like, in the center of the cross, he said, like, it's possible to put subliminals in the kind of carrier wave, like in the very center of the cross. But I don't know. I haven't checked it out. But
Do you know
I
what
suppose-
the first image that was broadcast on a television set was? I'm not sure if this was on John Logie Baird's televisor or an actual CRT display. This was a Golden Dawn experiment. It was a Maltese cross.
Really?
That was the first image ever broadcast, and I think the way they did it is they had a valve with a Maltese cross inside, and then they beamed electrons into it so that you'd have a Maltese cross shadow, and this image was then picked up with not a charge coupled device. There was something that came before charge coupled devices. The John Logie Baird televisor could be used as a receiver as well. But that's sort of getting aside from number waves. But I think it would be fun if we did a show about the early broadcast television and broadcaster radio as well, because that definitely gets into woo-woo territory.
Oh yeah, that's great. There's a good channel on YouTube. I think it's called Prehistoric Television. I think with all the really old sort of first American like systems and that. Yeah, it's fascinating stuff.
But wasn't this might be interesting because we like dabbing on the BBC. Wasn't the BBC created to break a strike? To broadcast,
the BBC was created to stop a revolution, wasn't it?
To broadcast propaganda
all
to stop a revolution. Then it was. I don't know the actual story, but
I read that after the Second World War, all the sort of officers came back to this country and saw that was a load of shit. So apparently, revolution was in the air amongst the officer class.
Well, that's why
is that why they cleared out 1 million people to Australia as well? Then do you think?
Yes.
Well, they employed them all in the BBC to sort of shut them up, really. Just
there's a number of things there which I think they're all worth addressing. These points in World War One, seeing how shit the country was and how they fought in this war, they weren't going to have millions of fighting men with their rifles come back to the country, because then they'll be like, these people be out for revenge. So they came back slowly in waves. And in World War II, they were told, "Oh, you can't come back. Your house is bombed." Just like, "No, my house is all right." "No, you got to go. We're going to bulldoze this entire road. Here's your ticket to Australia. You're going to Australia now." And the idea literally was, it's like they had World War II. People have been dissatisfied with the status quo, especially fought and died and saw my friends die just to see this happen. No, this means war. So that was curtailed. And then you got this could be more for Tuesday's show instead. You've got the Windrush coming later saying, we really needed those people over because we lost so many men during the war. Who was going to drive all the buses?
NATO, this one's called.
Yankee, Hotel, Foxtrot.
Oh, blimey, this is a terrible one, isn't it?
Yankee, Hotel, Foxtrot. 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 Yankee, Hotel, Foxtrot.
Foxtrot? Oh, wow.
Yankee,
Got it, I bet you've guessed it.
Hotel,
Hotel,
Foxtrot.
Foxtrot.
Yankee,
This is
Hotel,
one of the better.
Foxtrot.
Foxtrot.
Yankee, Hotel, Foxtrot.
Melted cheese, the caramelised.
Yankee, Hotel,
That's some hot
Foxtrot.
stuff. You can get that in a
Yankee,
number.
Hotel,
Places.
Foxtrot. Yankee, Hotel, Foxtrot.
Foxtrot.
Group 1,
Oh,
0. Group 1, 0. Text.
this one's a bit more informative.
November, Lima, Sierra, Victor, November. Uniform, Hotel, November, Foxtrot, Yankee, Zulu, Lima, November, Zulu, Foxtrot, November, Tango, Uniform, Mike, Echo, Hotel, Oscar, Bravo, Zulu, Victor, India, Foxtrot, Delta, Alpha, Mike, Juliet, Hotel, India, Golf, Victor, Victor, Zulu, Sierra, Zulu, Oscar, Juliet, Hotel, Zulu,
Sang the vintage.
Golf, Kilo, Zulu, Lima,
I've got to admit, I think the Czechs have
Yeah,
another station.
Charlie. End of
Yeah.
message. Repeat. Repeat.
The irony of this, it would actually sound clearer if people just listening to shortwave right now.
Group 1 0. Group 1 0. Text. November, Lima, Sierra, Victor, November, Uniform, Hotel, November, Foxtrot, Yankee. End of message.
Last 10 seconds.
End of transmission.
I could have cleaned that up a bit, couldn't I?
I just
Oh.
remembered. I just remembered another thing that Radio Ham guy told me, because he said he used to do sort of psychic experiments and that, and he said, I don't know whether I don't think he was pissing about, but he said one night he was watching TV and the TV picture sort of like was coming out of the TV and going up to the ceiling like a fountain. Like, I don't know. That's what he told me, yeah. Freaky.
Blimey.
He did smoke a lot of dope. So,
Is this another one of your stories?
No, it's just like, imagine that watching TV and then it starts coming out of the screen like a fountain, like going up to the ceiling. I mean,
I think
Like
you may have been on
Videodrome.
something a bit stronger than
Yeah.
dope.
If that was dope, has he got any left? Because I need to do some independent analysis.
dope is hallucinogenic, though, isn't it? I've always thought that. I mean, I've seen people like tripping on cannabis. I mean,
It is,
it is,
yeah.
isn't it?
Isn't that like someone who gets really pissed on half a shandy?
Yeah,
No,
he was
no.
like that. Yeah.
Yeah, I was.
But no, Zero's actually got a point. If you consume enough of it and if it's good quality, you will start hallucinating.
Is that
I've
is that
seen
what people
people
you
like-
know have told you, Hobbit?
Yes, I've had
Yeah.
second-hand evidence that suggests this. So
I don't mind talking about it. In the 80s, when we
It was
were
a
doing there was
joke.
some
It was a joke we made when we did the ecstasy episode.
a friend I know, someone who isn't me. So I would like to correct myself in the chat. I mean, normally corrections are done the week afterwards, but I've done the research now and I can correct myself. Hemi, you're right. It's 3.5-inch floppies and it's 5.25 inch.
Oh, is it 5 1/4?
So- Yeah,
Right.
5.25, 3.5. Those are the two sizes you find in desktop PCs and other places.
There we go.
You
That's
can
that
still
clue.
get floppy disks, but not. There's a few places in America selling them. I'm looking at a review of one of them on Amazon, and I can spot the boomer comment. It's in all caps. The way it packed was used unit. It not come in a box. The unit was packed. It looked like it was not new. Also, no paperwork or capitals, so I can connect to my computer. This is the first time I got unit like this. Robert Muller. So even though Robert Muller is his username,
What? The Muller? Is that what they're storing all the data for the Muller report on?
Robert Muller, who's put his Muller's spelled Muller.
Oh, different
So
one.
even though he's given it a 1 star and he's got your username on it, he still signed it Robert Muller at the end in all caps. Fucking boomer.
Some of those Amazon reviews, like you see like 1-star review, and they just go, "It's rubbish."
It's rubbish.
Yeah.
You can tell some of them they're just having a bad day, aren't they?
Yeah.
And Amazon's going to cop it because they're having a bad day.
Oh, that's great. There's people doing floppy disk drive emulators. I wonder if I can find software radio.
I used to love
but
that
no.
noise. The noise that not because the 5 1/4 used to be a little bit. They used to be noisier than the 3 1/2s, and I used to really love
Yes.
that noise that 5 1/4 quarters. Made.
I too know what a 5 1/4 sounds like because back in the early school we had a BBC Micro and it had pod on it, which you put the actual floppy disk in and you close the lock so
clip,
it can't
yeah.
come out.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's it. But I'm looking at this. It's a USB socket, and you plug a memory stick into it, and it emulates a floppy disk, and it's got an LCD, so you can like switch between different floppy disks. So I mean that's actually a much better system than an actual floppy drive.
Huh.
Hey, we've got Durbrain in the voice chat here. Does he want to come on?
Yeah, well,
Oh, it's you. Oh, sorry.
Yeah,
I thought it was someone else.
We had this on Tuesday's show as well, and I was like, you know what? Let's just go with Hobbit. I think Hobbit will go because Jackson quite liked the other name I picked.
Oh, right, yeah.
The unbroadcastable name.
The name which can't be said on BBC.
It can't be used in polite conversation.
No. Oh.
Yeah, right, how long have we got? How are we doing for time? Oh, we've gone over 2 hours and we've still got loads more. Shall I just power through these last few?
Yes, please.
Right then, so we'll just right. Ready,
And then we
15.
definitely do Nimble Station.
This one's called Ready, 15728.
1 5 7 2 8 1 5 7 2 8 1 5 7 2 8 1 5 7 2 8 1 5 7 2 8 1 5 7 2 8 1 5 7 2 8 1 5 7 2 8 1 5 7 2 8 1 5 7 2 8 1 5 7 2 8 1 5 7 2 8 1 5 7 2
The last three are some really good
5
ones.
7 2
This
8
one's a bit naff.
1 5 7 2 8
Or is it the ASMR that you
1
like, Zero?
5 7 2
I just had a-
8
Oh,
1
I can't really hear it.
7 2
Okay,
8
yeah.
1
No, I can't really hear you over the.
Oh,
over the
okay.
sound.
1 5 7 2 8 1 5 7 2 8 1 5 7 2 8 Ready 3 5 3 5 0 0 0 1 1 0 0 0 1 1 5 3 5 3 5 5 3 5 3 5 2 1 7 9 3 2 1 7 9 3 6 5 8 6 6 6 5 8 6 6
Right, just to take that one apart a bit. That one's a bit different to most, isn't it? Because you've got the 15378, whatever it is, and then she goes ready. So what do you think the ready means?
Must be the start of the actual code, I'd imagine.
So the other bits just. So do you think?
I think that's just so they know, so you know that they're broadcast and you can tune it in like.
So the 13578 is so you know you've got the right channel,
yeah.
And then the ready is the actual message.
Or maybe it's the code name of the agent, specifically saying like this is for you 912 sort of thing, or 007 or something.
Yeah, they're just so hard to work out because they're all completely different, aren't they? Oh, Mr.
It's
262
weird,
said
yeah.
maybe the intonation is part of the message.
It's it's strange. I mean, the thing I have to assume maybe it's instruction 15178, but I listen to it and I just think to myself, the sort of infrastructure needed to have a transmitter station which can be heard across the world.
It can't just be
vast.
broadcasting to one person because that'd be such a massive waste, wouldn't it? So they have to have some way of like repurposing it for more than one person, don't they?
But the other thing is going to be pretty suspect with, like, you find this spy who's got, like, a dual nationality passport, and he always seems to have a shortwave radio on him. It's like, yeah, why do all these spies have shortwave radios on them? It's, I think there's got to be, like, there's something here which isn't quite right.
I'd imagine there's definitely something we haven't twigged onto yet.
There's a missing piece to it, isn't there?
Yeah.
Right, so we're actually getting some really good ones now. The last few are the really, really good ones. This one's called Backwards Music Station.
Best for last.
These are all really quick as well, these last few. This is called Backwards Music Station. This did give me a bit of the heebie-jeebies. That to me, it just sounds demonic. I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know any other way to describe it. It just sounds so weird.
It sounds like the sort of thing when people pick up the telephone and there's like some horrible voice at the end of it, doesn't it? Like,
yeah. It also sounds a little bit like the hell
car
noise.
insurance.
Yeah.
You could be involved in a PPI scam. You get your insurance content. Yeah.
This one's
hello. God, sorry,
right, next one.
A Pakistani voice.
I'm going to go into the gong. That to me sounds like they're just putting a thing in your ear. It's just putting a demon in your ear.
It makes you wonder, doesn't it? I mean, people do weird things, and pranks, but there's also the sinister side to pranks where it does cross into like the occult. I think, who knows? Yeah. Aliens.
Speaking of aliens, got our very last one, which is called UFO Signal. What's the story behind UFO Signal?
Oh, this is just something I picked up once when I was like searching the internet. It's not on there anymore, mysteriously. It's just some radio ham who's picked up one, like I was saying before, an unidentified shortwave signal that none of his radio ham mates have any clue what it is.
Right, here we go. This is UFO Signal.
Einstein, wait a moment. The strange signal on 14.25 megahertz, 20 meter band, 2nd July 2009. It's been going on for a few days now. can't figure out what the signal's all about, nor can any other amateur radio operator that I made contact with. Very strange. What do you think, Einstein? Eh? What do you think about it all? UFOs and all? Eh?
Yeah, that's a bit of a weird one. Einstein's the name of his dog, by the way.
Oh,
He
is
had
it?
a poodle. He had a poodle called Einstein.
Oh, so you know him?
No, that was just off the internet. Yeah.
Oh, fair enough. I wonder if he called his dog Einstein because in Back to the Future the dog's called Einstein.
Yeah, I don't know. I just had a really weird thought, but I'm not being blasphemous, but Jesus crucified on the cross, isn't that some sort of dipole aerial, like with the rib cage and the arms stretched out? Is that some kind of psychic aerial? I don't know. 'Cause, you know, the rib cage, and imagine a skeleton with the rib cage and the arms stretched like a T. That's like a dipole aerial, isn't it? Really?
You know what? You'd have to do experiments where you make one out of copper or some sort of antenna material and see what it does, because I don't really.
I've seen aerials that shape, but with it's like one rib, isn't it? It would be if you're going for that shape. Do you know the sort of aerial I mean, Hobbit?
I do know what you mean. Yeah, those ones you would use them for shortwave. They're not unipole, but they're omnidirectional. That's it.
Mm.
But yeah, but I'm not sure I've seen aerials with lots of like horizontal bars to them, whatever they're called, but sort of rib cage type thingy. But yeah, that's odd. But I was going to get to say a bit about how, like, number stations, that they really are connected with the paranormal, in that during the Mothman case, there wasn't radio, but people were getting telephone calls from people speaking a cryptic language, and there's been cases of mysterious frequencies and strings of numbers appearing over the radio. So I think there's certainly something to it, in that number stations, I can't help connecting them with magical squares. You know, like the magical square.
I do have one more new number station. This one's really scary.
Go on then.
I've had some good burgers in my time. I love a good melted Swiss cheese and roasted mushrooms and caramelized onions on a burger. That is hot stuff. You can get that at a number of different places.
You just need to isolate the bit where he says that is hot stuff.
That's code, isn't it? That's a code message, isn't it? Swiss cheese.
Swiss cheese. I didn't think of that.
It's the code in it is that Richard Spencer doesn't have good taste in burgers. I mean, the thing is, there is no such thing as Swiss cheese. It'd be like, oh yeah, I really like that English cheese. It's bullshit. Swiss cheese is an American invention.
It reminds me of that old joke. Mum, I don't like Swiss cheese with the holes in it. We'll just eat the cheese and spit the holes out.
Yeah. But the fact is, it's based on Gruyere or Emmental, you know, proper holy cheese. But of course, it's just American, and therefore it's shit and wrong, like everything else America does.
Just to finish the cheese thing off, why holes, Hobbit?
What? Do you know
why?
Cheese?
Yeah, do you know why cheese has holes? Is it a natural
That's the
part
code,
of the process? Are they put in or something?
The arrangement of the holes is the number stations, but in cheese, isn't it? It's like the position.
Yeah. Go on. I prefer that explanation to the boring autism one I was going to give.
Well, I'm curious now. Why are there holes in it?
So when you ferment cheese, like carbon dioxide comes out, and with certain cheese where the protein's elastic enough, those bubbles can get like captured in the cheese as it solidifies. Whereas the same like cheddar, because of its proteins, the protein strains in cheddar are quite small and short. Therefore, that's why it's crumbly. holes in cheddar because it's all the carbon dioxide bubbles out. Same with Parmesan or Grana Padano. The short things like mozzarella and Gruyere and stuff like that. There's very long strain proteins in them, so they're quite rubbery.
God, I need some cheese now.
Don't eat
I can't
cheese
get
before
good
bed.
cheese round here. There's no sort of proper cheese shops round.
I'm surprised, considering the part of the country you're in. I thought cheese would be quite decent, but
Oh, this is a bit of an
Yeah,
old.
no,
Let's go into a quick.
no.
Let's go into a quick old wives' tale then. Why shouldn't you eat cheese before bed? I was always told it was something like cheese is quite hard to digest, and that's why it keeps you up, or gives you.
I don't know
I
about
was-
that because I
It's
have cheese sandwiches. I don't have nightmares.
it's because of the amino
last thing
acids
before
in
bed,
it.
isn't it?
The amino acids in it and the choline will build up neurotransmitters, which make you more likely to dream and remember your dreams. And it surprised me. There's quite a lot of Orthodox, as in Orthodox Christian. Well, okay, Eastern Orthodox. And the reason I say that is because the Catholic Church is also called the Orthodox Church, just to confuse matters. Eastern Orthodox have a lot of prayers for having a deep and dreamless sleep, so you don't get troubled by your dreams.
I know having a Chinese takeaway before bed, that's guaranteed nightmare stuff. That is it. All that MSG and that, yeah.
Oh, MSG is excitotoxic.
Oh,
That's
God,
acting
yeah.
on your GABA receptor sites.
I don't go to takeaways anymore because the last time I had food poisoning was from a certain takeaway run by a Pakistani to put it bluntly. Yeah. No,
You had a bit of schoolgirl kebab, did you?
Yeah.
Did
Oh,
you
God.
listen to the Tuesday show Zero? I was on it, and I was talking about how me and one of my other colleagues, we both delivered takeaways. I was working for the Chinkies, and he was working for the Curries.
Yeah.
Right, I'm going to end the stream now.
Yeah.
So
We can talk about this
we're doing
later.
Christmas next week, aren't we? Zero. Did you say
Yeah, we should have Jafer on again.
Jafer's
We
coming
wish
back,
you a
and we're
Merry
going to talk
Christmas.
Christmas myths and stuff
We
like that.
wish you a Merry Christmas. We wish you a Merry Christmas.
So there'll be lots
and
of.
a Happy New Year.
I hope it will be a lot of comfy Christmas posting, unlike the fairy episode, which turned out to be not so light and fluffy, didn't it?
Glad tidings we bring to you and your king. We wish you a
That's
Merry
next week.
Christmas.
That's next week.
Don't listen to the modern songs, they're shit. They're all written by you, the who's.
If I hear that bloody "With the Sky Is Grey" that song, like, oh my God! Every time I go into a shop, that's on. What is it? Oh, God.
Right, don't forget.
Anyway,
Don't forget to like and subscribe, people. Have a look through our back catalogue. There's some particularly
Alright, I
good
have to now
episodes.
click on the thumbs down button because you said the like and subscribe phrase.
Oh, do you not? Is that verboten? Is it?
It's one of those trigger phrases like Brexit or conspiracy theory. When I hear it, it sets my teeth on edge.
Okay then. What's good? Well, go on, everybody. What's your favourite episode from the back catalogue that you think people should watch?
Oh,
I think Fairies. I think Fairies was a good episode.
yeah, I like the fairies one. Yeah, I'll go for the fairies.
Yeah.
I liked the one about using technology and other things to talk with spirits.
That's this one.
Oh yeah. No. We did one before about. It wasn't Bollywood Rectory, but it was about experiments in mediumship.
Oh yeah, we did
mediumship,
Doris Stokes, didn't we? That's only available as audio at the moment. The YouTube only goes back as far as the Highgate Vampire. Oh, we still need to finish that off. I mean, how long's that been for? You need to finish that one off, don't we?
I've got so much to do. Yeah, we'll do the Cult of Death. Yeah, definitely. I mean, that's an exclusive. That is. Yeah.
Right,
We'll
so
definitely do
I'm going
that,
to end
yeah.
the stream. So it's night all.